Welcome to Fresh Waters, spiritual reflections helping you to grow in faith. Today's session is about walking in God's presence. The key concept is that walking in God's presence is a joyous experience. The scripture reading today is from Psalm 139, verses 1 to 12. O Lord, you have searched me, and you know me. You know when I sit and when I rise. You perceive my thoughts from afar. You discern my going out and my lying down. You are familiar with all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know it completely, O Lord. You hem me in, behind, and before. You have laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, and the light become night around me, even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Imagine being a student in a classroom in which you're about to take a test. And you're quite anxious about this test because you have not studied for it, neither has anybody else, because it's a surprise test. The test contains one question. How do you know God is everywhere? How would you answer that question? How you answer that question indicates your understanding of the presence of God. Your answer may be objectively from Scripture, or you may share your own personal experience with the presence of God. One answer is purely intellectual, while the other answer is very experiential. We need to understand the presence of God from both perspectives. To some people, the presence of God is a mere concept, while to others, it is an experience. To be present is to be here, close to, or next to something or someone. God is omnipresent. This means that He is everywhere, including here, close to everyone, next to everything. God knows us inside and out because He created us. There is no place, no structure, no time that we can hide from Him. God is present and God is here. Whether we want to tune into His presence is really up to us. In Psalm 139, David, in the first 6 verses, reflected about how God knows him. Every detail of his life, God knows. In the next 6 verses, David reflected on God's presence or omnipresence, that God is everywhere. And the fact that God is everywhere is not about where can we run and hide from God, but the fact that God is everywhere means that He has not abandoned us. He is always present for us. David was always a great example of a person who is walking with the Lord and ever sensing His presence. In Psalm 16, he talks about an awareness, an acceptance of God's presence, helping him to feel safe and secure in the midst of all kinds of storms. He concludes in Psalm 16, "Therefore my heart is glad, and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure, because you will not abandon me to the grave, nor will you let your Holy One see decay. You have made known to me the path of life. you will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. You see, the reality of the presence of God helps us to learn to depend on Him for our direction in life. The true pleasure and joy that comes from feeling God's presence is an experience that is unmatched. You see, there are those who will experience real fear in the presence of God, but there are others who will experience real joy in the presence of God. The presence of God must be more than a theological concept. It is a joyous experience that's beyond description. In spite of our outward circumstances, the presence of God gives us a peace, security, guidance, and joy that many people in this world seek. My prayer for you is that not only will you know the presence of God in your understanding, but that you practice the presence of God in your reality. Just think about it. What was the best experience you ever had with the presence of God? What were your feelings like in that experience? Are you always conscious of the presence of God? Do you really believe that God is everywhere? What step or steps will you take this week to remind you of the presence of God? May God bless you in your spiritual journey.